Asleep in the driver's seat is world famous D1 GP driver Habino. So you want to check out his two cars that I haven't seen in the flesh.
It's making 1100 horsepower.
Now, he says all we had to do.
Yeah, no,
I'm looking at Ian's face here.
He makes it sound so easy.
What's up guys, welcome to another Drift Games episode. The madness continues. We came back from Austria Drift Masters a day ago. We spent the last day doing edits and I do a lot of emails, calls. We had a busy day yesterday and we've had 2 hours sleep. It's now 3 AM in the morning. We're about to head to Goodwood, so we're super tired but also super excited because we've never been to Goodwood before. We're heading to Goodwood to check out some brand new builds, some exclusive reveals on the channel, check out all the madness. We absolutely can't wait. There's gonna be so much car content coming from the next couple of days. So let's get on our plane, go through the misery of Dublin Airport again. Let's go to Goodwood.
You're way more enthusiastic than I could ever be at this time in the morning.
Well, I usually still up at this time in the morning. I haven't even got to the morning yet.
Conked out in an hour or so.
It's still nighttime to me. I'm still on yesterday.
Still somehow we're there when the gate's closed, no matter how early we are.
The gate is clearly not closed because we can't even get on.
I feel like we've been a little bit complainy this morning, more like complain games at the moment. But there is one more thing to complain about before we get into the positive nature of what we're doing. So we got a rental car, and I'm not too sure if people know that rental cars, the prices have rocketed. So how much was this one?
€300 for 2.5 days.
So you're expecting something pretty sporty. Well, Dave, did we get the Mercedes?
I thought we were going to get this yellow one. I was like, oh, maybe.
I was going to say, that's a bit jazzy. Which one? What did we get?
The horrible grey one behind it.
Oh no.
That's the fog lights, like rally fog lights on it. What's that about?
Dear me.
Small car. What do you think? Will it clear it? Oh. It's back in first. That is close. Look at that.
Whoa.
Look at the badge. That's pretty. Look at it. Adam O'Connor, if you're watching, thanks. That's definitely wrong.
I definitely don't think it's 2 days away.
It's on the Iraq and Saudi Arabian border, apparently. The Goodwood company.
1 hour.
1 hour is not too bad.
That's a bit better. We've genuinely parked. We've gone off-road in here.
We just said we'd hide in behind this tree and just leave our Hyundai here, and it's. I think this is a valid car park. I think the nettles and everything give it away.
It looks like you've crashed it here.
So, travelling done. We're here at Goodwood. It's our first time ever at Goodwood. It's like a dream come true for me and Josh because we haven't been here before. We heard it's like the mecca of all things automotive. We're here to basically feature some cars that have never been featured before for drifting, and they are being revealed at Goodwood. So we're doing some features, doing some onboards, and we're also going to do a whole tour of the whole show. There's going to be so much content from this show that we want to kind of take you guys along for the ride, see all the cool cars. Like right now I'm looking over there at one of my favourite cars from when I was a kid, the Volvo S40 British Touring Car Championship car. Just buried in the grass over there.
It's one of your favourite cars as a kid?
Yeah, love that car. My dad had an S40 and then that was why we bought one, because it was cool. It was winning the BTCC at the time, and I loved Toka Touring Car on the PlayStation, and this was one in a hedge over there, getting ready to be brought into the show. So there's going to be so many cool cars. We're going to try and feature absolutely everything, make loads of episodes before we head back to Ireland, and then Sweden for Drift Masters, and then America for the Riverside Drift 50K.
I'm going to stop you there.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's one event at a time.
One step at a time. We focus too far ahead, we'll get tired, we'll get confused. Every day we wake up, we look at car stuff, we put it in a video, we give it to you guys, and we have some fun. We don't think too...
That's bite size.
Bite size.
You used to do that when you were younger for revision? Bite size chunks.
Bite size.
That's the way people can learn.
Yeah, events for dummies. That's what we're doing. Just one at a time.
Doesn't get any more English than that now. A Spitfire flying over an English motor festival.
And we're now walking along the track. It's very narrow, isn't it?
We've seen all the videos of it, and people say it's narrow, and it is very narrow. And the runoff is
nothing.
6 feet into a barrel.
Into a hay bale. Alright, so as I mentioned, today is setup day here at Goodwood, so we've got exclusive access behind the scenes. We're going to go in a little while exploring all the cool cars that aren't set up on their stands yet, but we can go and kind of check them out because nobody seems to be really bothered about us. But we wanted to drop by our friend Baggsy first because we want to check out his 2 cars that I haven't seen in the flesh because of COVID and everything else. Amazing, amazing stuff. Stephen, how are you?
Hello, David.
We were just saying on the way here that we haven't seen either of these cars because of COVID, and now we get to see them in the flesh. But we've watched all the builds. We watched Ian shout and moan for 2 years about building them.
Definitely did a lot of that.
Did a lot of that.
I just don't want to grind anymore. Stop filming me. Oh, fucking hell. Stop filming me, Ben. I can't even fucking talk now because you frustrated me.
But they're here in the flesh and they look amazing. This body kit on this is unbelievable. So how long have you had this GTR now?
So we got the GTR, I think it was the back end of 2016. Basically, Monster came to us and said we want to film Battle Drift 2. Daigo's going to be in it with the Lamborghini and we want you to be in it. And I was like, well, that sounds cool, but maybe I should try and find something a little bit nicer to use to drift with. So yeah, we managed to get hold of this Nissan GTR and yeah, turn it into the beast it is now, I guess.
And this is like version 3 of the car maybe at this stage, or is it?
Yeah, so this is the Liberty Walk version 3 body kit. So over the years, we've kind of just changed livery, changed body kit, tried to kind of make it a little bit better, swapped out the colours on it and just sort of refreshed it. So yeah, this is sort of the 3rd generation of the Nissan GTR since we built it.
It looks amazing in black, by the way. So talk us through the engine spec on this. It's a big old V8.
Yeah, so the reason, I guess we should address the reason why it's got a V8 in it in the first place. So again, when we got the Nissan GTR, we only had about 2.5, maybe nearly 3 months to build it before the filming was set to be filming. So we had a very, very small window of time to kind of build the car. So we wanted to originally use the VR engine that comes in the Nissan GTR, but I knew that we had to do a lot of things to it to make it kind of reliable and also make it deal with the stress that drifting puts on those engines. And after a few conversations and looking around for parts and trying to figure out how we could do it.
This was early days GTR as well. There wasn't like there's so much stuff available like there is now.
I guess there's still a lot of bits available, but it just seemed like in the UK with the lead times and or getting stuff from Japan or America, it was all sounding very. It just sounded like it wasn't going to work in our window of time to build the car. So I decided that if we wanted to make 1,000 horsepower with the GTR, we needed to try and do something else. So I knew that using an LSX with a big turbo, we could create, you know, a good 8, 9, 1,000 plus horsepower fairly easily and quickly, because the engine was in the UK, the turbo was available from Garrett to be shipped out straight away, and we could literally just sort of bolt them in, wire it up, and it would do the power and do the reliability and the numbers that we wanted.
By the way, this is one of the biggest turbos I've ever seen on a car.
So yeah, in 2016 or 2017, it was the biggest turbo Garrett did. It was kind of a marketing thing, really, more than anything. We don't have to have a turbo, obviously,
like
that
lorry
big.
turbo, like it's
yeah,
that big.
It's actually
huge.
It's actually bigger than your average lorry turbo by quite some margin as well. You know, you'd imagine it's off like a Scania or something,
yeah,
but it's designed. It is designed with drag racing in mind. It will do a huge amount of pressure, and it will make, you know, those turbos probably make up to like 2,500 horsepower quite easily if you've got a motor that will take it. It's making 1,100 horsepower
at 1.5 bar.
Yeah.
That's a big.
Well,
turbo.
the motor will make 657. Well, 650. The motor will make pretty much on its own.
Yeah.
And then you're just spicing it up with this turbo.
So talk us through some of the fun little things on the car, front to back. So we obviously have the 1,100 horsepower up here, massive turbo, and
yeah. So I mean, obviously, yeah, Liberty Walk body kit. It's
got some man's legs underneath it.
Sam's legs. We got carbon fiber doors, which not a lot of people have ever seen, which they are pretty cool. So on a Quaife 69G 6-speed gearbox, OBP pedal box and handbrake. It's got a carbon fiber dash in it as well, which is pretty cool. We got that from Daigo Saito over in Japan. He actually brought it on the airplane with him when we were filming.
Oh,
so
wow.
he was meant to send it like weeks before, and typical Daigo didn't get shipped, so he brought it as hand luggage on the plane, literally with him. And,
and Ian's here, by the way. So Ian was Ian, straight from one area to another in the vlogs.
I can't take any credit for building it at all. Just to put that out there. So like
Ian
really,
really,
Ian or you know,
me and
Corbin should be talking about building it.
This was a car we wanted to see in the flesh. The one we really wanted to see is this one, because this is not like anything else we've seen before. So this is what happens. Remember, we all went into COVID and we all said, oh, you know, got some time on our hands, there's no drifting going on, someone might just clean up their car or put a new turbo on it. You decided to build the world's first GTR engine Navara.
Yeah.
Just as a, like, hey, why not?
The thought process behind it, and
I really want to hear this.
Yeah. So,
here's a man going to explain why he needed a 1,000 horsepower Navara.
So, I guess in 2018 and 2019, I spent a little bit of time in America, like you guys have done recently. You know, toured around, did shows, and I just fell in love with sort of trucks. Like over there, everything's pickup trucks, right? So we don't have that over here, but we do have some cool trucks. You know, we have the Ranger, we have the Navara, you know, different various models, and we had the engine.
Sorry, I just fell over your mechanic there.
Fell over a man.
And we had the engine and the gearbox and all the suspension and all the wiring looms and all the interior and just
sort of spares for this, right?
Just about everything.
Or that came out of this?
Everything that,
oh, so it was everything that was in this originally?
yes.
Yeah.
So everything that came out of this when we built it, because we used none of it, right? Because we put the V8 in and we put a Quaif in and a Winters up the back. So we had everything, and it sat there in a box pretty much in the workshop for a couple of years.
Yep.
And we always talked about wanting to do something cool with it. I think this was like the end of 2019. We started chatting about, you know, what would we do with it and what could we do with it, and we came up with the Navara project. And then obviously when COVID hit, we had a lot more free time in the workshop because we weren't going racing as much, obviously. And
poor Ian thought he was going to get a nice
Yeah,
smooth break.
A few months off, you know, chill out, and then Baggsy calls the phone and says we've got another big project on the go.
so
This
yeah,
is a Navara with a GTR engine. You're like, oh, obviously.
Easy.
No problem. But before we get into it, I'm just thinking, could we take this out of here, do some nice photo and video, because Josh is anxious to do a nice little montage on this. Bring it up, put it somewhere out in the sun so we can actually appreciate how cool this car is. Alright, so we brought it here to this beautiful backdrop. I don't know what this house is, or there's some people have it. It's the kennel.
Apparently.
My dogs do not go to kennels like this when I'm on holidays. This is a pretty fancy spot. And they're all having beautiful beautiful lunch there, and we've brought this very obnoxious truck into the middle of it. But we wanted to talk about it because we want to talk about the build, because you've sort of given us the idea of why to do it, but now I want to know about the how to do it. Like, how did you, where you started with a 2.0 or diesel Navara normal stock from stock?
Yeah. I mean, it's a long time ago. Yeah, it was a bone stock MP300 Navara with a 2.2 4-cylinder diesel in it, and that was it. It'd probably been someone's work truck for a couple of years, and then we got our hands on it.
It's improved. It's improved. So talk to us about the outside first. So obviously this is much wider than a standard Navara. This is all a one-off kit essentially.
yeah. So basically, it started with 3D scanning the whole Nissan Navara. And then I sat down with the guys at Sterling Automotive, which they do a lot of the body kit designs for trucks and little bits for BMWs and add-ons really to make your car look a bit cooler. I came to them and said, I want to build a body kit for this Navara project that we're doing. Can you help me design one? So they basically, scanned the whole car. We started making arches, making front lips, rear diffusers, all that sort of side skirts, all that sort of stuff. I wanted it to still look like a Navara, but I just wanted it to look like it had been in the gym and done a load of steroids. So it just got beefed up, right? You know, so it still was recognisable. You can still tell it's a Navara, but you don't know why it just looks different.
Looks so weird. And these are screen plates?
Yep. So they're the external wastegate screw pipes. Baggsy's brainchild, or one wish. If you know you have one thing that you want to do on a whole car, Baggsy's whole one thing for the whole project was flames on all 4 corners. So we put the external wastegate dump tubes out the front bumper on either side, and then the main exhausts come out the end of the side skirt.
And these are, and obviously I'm looking at the wheels, these are, I've never seen wheels like that.
You won't see them, and you can't even buy them because they are a one-off set of wheels for the truck only.
Because they're like a motorsport wheel.
Yep.
That's like 20 what?
20 inch
But 20-inch motors probably would never exist.
No.
But this looks amazing.
So BBS obviously come on board with the truck project, and we wanted something special. We had like our demands to meet the body kit and everything else, and we obviously wanted to stick a really cool tyre on there so it looked gangster. And we told them what we wanted, and they created this crazy wheel.
Like the back vent, you could have just left that open, but to go with all the little...
And they're functional as well. Inside, if you look deep inside, they're actually like moulded slats that follow the line off the fender, so the air, when it comes off the wheel, goes actually through. So they're functional as well.
So the smoke essentially would come out of here if it was doing
front and rear, and the front one's actually curved to follow the profile of the arch.
But now we're going to get to the engine because that's what everyone wants to see, obviously, in this video, right? But what I have to show, because I took a little spin in this just 2 minutes ago, is how much it feels like a normal Navara on inside. Now, there's a link dash inside, which is obviously the display, but everything else is kind of as it was. It even has the standard, like, I mean, the rails are changed, but they're electric. Yeah,
the seats are still electric. I don't know, the ignition's not on there. Oh yeah, so they still move like factory. Obviously, one of the biggest problems, we was trying to fit the factory GTR seats, so we kind of wanted to pay homage to a GTR when we built it by putting obviously all the running gear in.
We got the GTR steering
wheel, we wanted to put most of the GTR interior in. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the seats in, so Sparco came along and hooked us up with these incredible seats, and the driver's side rail was already electric, so we literally just made them work with the standard rail.
It's amazing. Ian, all these people have been waiting. Just pop the bonnet.
Because
that's what everyone wants to see. This is the most ridiculous thing about it. I mean, if you just built this as a 2.2 diesel with this kit, it would still be quite impressive. But this is definitely the most ridiculous part. So let's talk horsepower figures. Let's talk flywheel figures.
Flywheel figures, well, it's over 1100 horsepower at the flywheel. It makes 963 horsepower at the wheels.
It's outrageous. That is an outrageous amount.
But I think a lot of people who probably haven't watched the vlogs or watched the story on Instagram of us, on YouTube of us building the truck, don't know that it isn't actually still a 3.8. It is now a 4.1. So it's a 4.1 VR38.
Wow. With
an as-new billet intake on it, Walton manifolds, crazy G-series turbos, and then Forge Motorsport built us an incredible cooling package.
This is a work of art here.
Yeah, this is all billet aluminium all the way through. You've got your normal injectors down the bottom for your running, and then the second rail, or the third rail up top, actually runs another set of injectors which come on at like crazy horsepower, crazy RPM.
More fuel, more bang.
So 12 injectors total, basically.
12 injectors, a stroked VR to 4.1,
yep.
2 turbos with 2 screamer pipes coming out the bumper,
yep.
and 1100 horsepower in a truck.
In a truck. But the other thing that...
Do you ever just take a moment? I know it's been what you've been looking at this for a long time. Do you ever just think back and go, yeah, that probably didn't even look possible on paper at the start of this, and then here it is in the flesh in Goodwood.
I mean, again, we wouldn't have even dreamed about doing this if we hadn't swapped the motor out on the GTR, which allowed us to have this engine, allowed us to have the GTR gearbox, which is also in it. The gearbox that's in it's from Dodson. They built us like a 1500 horsepower gearbox to take all this power that we've got at the front, at the back. But again, this whole dream only became reality because we had everything from the GTR build when we built the GTR drift car. You know, we had the wiring looms, the ECUs, the engine, everything. So it just made sense as we had that package. All we had to do is go and buy a Navara and somehow glue them all together.
Now, he says all we had to do. I'm looking at Ian's face here.
He makes it sound so easy. He tells everyone it's easy.
All you had to do was just put it all in the Navara, Ian.
But me,
2 weeks, a week and a half.
Well, Dave actually has the same problem with all this. He has a simple idea.
I see it. I see the balance, when realistically, me, Corbin and Sam spent 2 years in a workshop in the dark building a monster.
What I love about it, I love the personalised plate, but is it a show plate or is it road legal?
That is my number plate for this vehicle that is registered on this truck.
So this is, you were able to drive this 1100 horsepower truck down the road for just whatever, just go to shops.
It's got tax, it's got MOT, it's insured. It's got an unplate.
Is it commercial tax? You don't have that in the UK, do you actually?
No, we don't have that.
No.
There's in Ireland now somebody going, is it commercially taxed now? So we've seen the engine. Obviously this is not running on standard Navara shocks and springs because they'd be under pressure.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wouldn't work on the standard stuff anyway because it's on leaf springs on the rear normally, and it runs a very short shock on the front on the standard Navara.
Springs for just pure
just for fun.
Firing off into ditches everywhere when you put the power down?
No, so one of the things we wanted to do was obviously run the VR38 or 41 now, but we also wanted to put the transaxle from a GTR, so if anyone knows about a GTR knows that the gearbox is actually in the back. So we converted the whole back end of the chassis to run the transaxle. So this actually runs all standard Nissan R35 GTR running gear on the truck. and we lowered the chassis to suit so that the truck would actually run low. So it's not lowered to make it look cool, it's actually lowered for a purpose.
So it's
So in hindsight, I guess
this is the simple and down bit.
The easiest way to explain it is that we put the subframes from the Nissan GTR 35 into the frame of the Navara. So the engine is sitting on its own subframe, which allows us to use all the suspension pickup points.
okay.
So we can run the GTR suspension and all the arms and everything that goes with it, right? Roll bars.
It's
everything.
almost more of a GTR than a Navara at that stage.
It
Pretty much is
It
now,
just
yeah.
looks like a Navara, but actually it should
Underneath, yeah.
handle similar to a GTR. Obviously the body length is obviously a little bit longer and it's a little bit wider than a GTR is, but yeah, the rear subframe is the same. We have the rear subframe from the R35 in this.
That's nuts.
So all the suspension from the R35, you know, the coilover, the arms, everything, the roll bars, everything is in there.
And you're not modifying that; they're just bolt
It's all
in.
standard stuff. So you can
Well,
buy-
Dave, I doubt it just bolts in.
No. I mean the arms bolt in.
Yeah, so
because
if
you have the subframe from
So if we have
GTR.
an issue, any arm, any suspension part from a stock R35 GTR bolts straight onto this truck now.
I mean, I thought it was cool before we did this video, but now I'm like, the hassle.
Oh
The
yeah.
sheer-
I can see where the 2 years went now.
I
Yeah,
can see where the 2 years went.
Myself and Corbin built custom suspension turrets, front and rear, to suit the coilover, because obviously the coilover on a GTR is this long, and on a Navara it's only this long. And then because we moved the chassis down, we had to move the suspension point up. Well, you can see that in the back. So if you take a look, like actually in the back of it, you can see now there's proper wheel wells with inspection plates. So that is to get to the top of the coilover, which now sits there, where before on a Navara there wasn't one.
Well, it's just a
It
leaf
was a leaf
spring, yeah.
spring.
That's nuts. You've lost so much usable practical space in the bed.
Yeah, I mean, Baggsy wanted to be able to like rebuild his house, but now he's thinking about buying another Navara to do that because
Just a more practical one.
yeah, and then obviously
Yeah, I think you've really ruined this truck by
Yeah.
making it. I think it wasn't the 1100 horsepower, it was just a slight bit of loss of luggage space in the back for me. Well guys, thanks for showing us around the truck. I'm sure you guys will agree that this is when one idea grows legs and becomes a reality, and it's so cool to see that even though we had those 2 years kind of COVID and nothing happening, that at the other end of it, these things wouldn't exist because of it, because you had so much energy and time to put into this. So an amazing build and an amazing idea that somehow has worked out, which I'm not sure about. Halfway through you probably went, I'm not too sure about this. But we're going to go check out some more mad stuff here in Goodwood while we check out behind the scenes for the rest of the day, and there's a lot of cool stuff to check out. Alright, so because all the cars aren't in their correct position, they've kind of just been left around here because it's setup day, these two drew my attention straight away. So when I was younger and I had a PlayStation, if you were playing Toka touring car, you could pick this Christensen's Honda Accord, or if you Colin McRae Rally, you could pick Sebastian Loeb's Citra. These are two cars that like are burned into my mind of just growing up into motorsport, and the actual cars are just sitting here, just chilling out, and like there's just so much everywhere. It's like even over here, watch, there's even more rally cars.
I'm finding this quite entertaining because you never freak out over cars, and here you are saying these are all the cars from your childhood, and you're genuinely getting excited.
Well, these
They wouldn't mean as much to me as they do to you.
no, but you were into skateboarding when you were younger, right?
Yeah.
So if Tony Hawk was here standing around, that's how you'd feel, right?
That's a very fair point.
So like I was into motorsport, I was into touring car, rally cars, all sorts of cars, and all these cars are so iconic to me from it being a kid, just the liveries, and they're all just here in the one place, which is nuts. This is the one you'll see all the videos of because it's absolutely ridiculous. And then we've all the famous Subaru rally cars, including this one, which is probably Richard Burns. I used to have the game of this car, which was on the cover of this car, Richard Burns Rally, and it unfortunately passed away when he was very young, but this livery from Subaru is so iconic. Like, it's just to stand beside all these cars, like this Group B Metro.
We have something a little bit different here, Dave, now.
Dakar Citroen, I want to say CX or DX, I can't remember because they're old, but like you can only kind of tell from the headlights and the fact that it's a little bit still like a hatchback, but that's a proper Dakar car. It's amazing. Like tucked down here in the corner, is one of my favorite cars ever in motorsport. So this is the Nissan Primera that used to compete in the British Touring Car Championship. My dad had a Nissan Primera at the same time, so I used to think that my dad's car was really cool because this one was the one that was competing at the time and it looked so cool.
Was this what your dad's looked like?
It looked exactly like this, yeah. He had it.
You put the livery on and everything.
Yeah, but this is like when touring cars were like such a big thing, especially British touring cars, because they were all the cars that your dads drove. Like all the kids from school would be picked up in Volvo S40s, Honda Accords, Nissan Primeras, but there was like or a Peugeot 406, and then there was a really super cool version of them that was racing every weekend, and this was on TV, so you'd always be thinking your dad's car was the coolest because he had whatever. My dad had a Nissan Primera, then he had a he had a Volvo S40, and the S40 was winning. And we actually bought a Volvo S40. I convinced him to buy a Volvo S40 because that was the one that was winning the championship at the time. And he didn't really care which car he was buying, but like look at the tuck on the back of these.
I love this. The stance
Centre-lock wheels.
is so different to any other car. Actually, I just had a quick look inside. The door's open. Does that mean you can open it?
I think you can have a quick look inside, yeah.
Like, look at the gear shifter, look at the linkage going through, all exposed and everything like that. The control panels, like proper race car stuff there.
Proper race car. So then I don't know what the hell this is. This is some sort of, is this like an electric rally?
I don't know, but this is, I would say it looks like a Dakar car. It's definitely a Dakar car because it's got this. It's got the spare wheel. That's where the location is there.
So this is from Bahrain. All carbon fibre. Jeez, that is light. Everything's carbon fibre. Another spare wheel.
Yeah, because on a race they sometimes have to change the wheels on these because there's such long distances in between stages.
Or you get stuck out in the desert. Have a look through there at the dual shocks on the front. Christ. That's like the backlights from like a Jaguar.
It does look like a Jag at the back.
There's like an F-Type at the back, doesn't it? I have no idea what.
Look how obnoxious the wing is, Dave.
Come down here now. So we have a look at this. Look at the size of the shock absorber on that. And you got air going towards the brakes, all the skid pads underneath to stop all the dust and dirt getting into the suspension. That's nuts. The shock is like 4 feet. It's cool though. I can't wait to see this go up the hill, or over the hill, or over the grass, or over the bales, or whatever you want.
Or jump the road.
So this is Kevin Quinn's brand new S15, sitting on tough tile flooring and on Strom DS25s. By the way, these are the same wheels that we run on our drift car. If you want to run them on your drift car, check out Strom Wheels, their website. You can get them in grey, black, white and bronze. There's the 4 colours. Super concave, super sturdy. Look awesome on every single car, even road cars, so check them out.
Also, this car is immensely immaculate because it's genuinely brand new, every single thing on it.
Yeah, so what I want to sneak at all you guys is, this is going to be on the next episode, and so is this. Josh, asleep in the driver's seat is world famous D1 GP driver, Habino. He's asleep in the car. But on the next
Do you want to go to fanboy?
On the next episode, we're going to wake him up, and we're going to wake up this 4-rotor S15 from Liberty Walk and enjoy it. So we'll see you guys on the next episode. Why am I even whispering? He can't even hear me. He's definitely asleep. Where does it end?
Just
Where does
end
it
it.
end?
Start the next one.
We'll start the next vlog the next time. Join us. It's going to be crazy.